Welcome to Headline Hub. Updates, subscribe, and press the bell icon for more updates. Manila's air is thick with smoke and fury, the city's pulse beating with unrest. The streets are alive with the sound of voices rising, echoing off the buildings and mixing with the haze that hangs heavy over the capital. On September 23, 2025, hundreds of thousands flood EDSA, the city's main artery, demanding answers from those in power. The avenue, once a symbol of hope and unity, is now a river of outrage and determination. Banners scream, "Where did the money go?" and "Defend our seas, not your pockets." The questions are painted in bold, desperate strokes, carried high above the crowd for all to see. This is more than protest. It's a reckoning. Every face in the crowd tells a story of betrayal, of dreams deferred, of a nation pushed to its breaking point. The anger is raw, sparked by a $545 billion corruption scandal that has shaken the country to its core. The people's patience has run out, replaced by a demand for justice. Funds meant for disaster relief and flood control have vanished, leaving communities vulnerable to the next storm. Promised projects stand abandoned, a stark reminder of broken promises. Investigative journalists uncovered ghost projects, inflated contracts, and money funneled to officials' accounts. Their relentless pursuit of the truth has exposed a web of deceit stretching from City Hall to the highest offices in the land. The scandal links government greed to public suffering, and the timing is explosive. As headlines break, the nation's outrage grows, uniting people from all walks of life. As Filipinos face internal decay, Chinese vessels grow bolder in the West Philippine Sea. The nation's sovereignty is threatened from without, even as it crumbles from within. The stolen funds could have modernized the Navy and Coast Guard. Now, national security is compromised. The country's defenders are left with outdated equipment, forced to watch as foreign ships encroach on Philippine waters. Protesters know this isn't just about money, it's about a stolen future and a nation left defenseless. Families, students, and elders stand side by side, united by a shared sense of loss and hope for change. Riot police face off against students, workers, and veterans. The tension is palpable, but so is the courage of those who refuse to back down. The message is clear. The people demand resignations, the return of stolen funds, and a total overhaul of the system. Their voices rise in unison, calling for accountability and a new beginning. This is a fight for the nation's soul. In the gathering dusk, as the flag waves above the crowd, hope flickers, a promise that the people will not be silenced and that change is within reach. The $545 billion scandal, now infamously known as Oplan Agos, centers on the very agencies tasked with protecting the nation from disaster, those responsible for public works and climate resilience. These institutions, trusted with the safety of millions, became the stage for one of the largest corruption schemes in Philippine history. The funds were earmarked for critical infrastructure, seawalls to shield coastal communities, reinforced riverbanks to prevent flooding, and storm surge barriers to save lives during typhoons. Yet, these vital projects never saw completion. Many never even began. At the center of this web is the Secretary of Budget and Management, accused of masterminding a vast kickback scheme. Together with a network of contractors and complicit officials, they siphoned off billions meant for the public good. Leaked documents exposed a trail of contracts awarded to shell companies, many of which were secretly linked to the families of high-ranking officials. These companies existed only to funnel money out of government coffers. On the ground, the evidence was clear. Empty construction sites, abandoned equipment, and infrastructure projects that existed only on paper, never in reality. Investigators uncovered a pattern of over-invoicing, ghost payrolls, and sophisticated money laundering operations. Billions were traced to offshore accounts, hidden far from the eyes of the Filipino people. The conspiracy reached every level of government, from local offices to national agencies, all bound together by a shared pursuit of personal gain at the expense of public safety. The consequences are devastating. Coastal towns remain exposed to the elements, farmlands are submerged after every storm, and thousands of vulnerable Filipino families are left to fend for themselves, betrayed by those sworn to protect them. The billions stolen were more than just money. They were a promise of safety, a commitment to a better future. Now, that promise lies shattered, and communities are left to pick up the pieces. The public is left to count the true cost, not just in pesos, but in lost lives, broken trust, and a deepening sense of injustice that lingers in every affected community. This is not just theft, it's a national tragedy, a wound that will take years to heal, and a lesson the nation cannot afford to forget. The backlash is nationwide. Protests erupt in Manila, Cebu, Davao, and beyond. The streets are filled with people demanding answers, their voices echoing through the cities, calling for change and accountability. Social media explodes with a Nasaan ang Pondo and Defend PH, fueling outrage and organizing rallies. These platforms have become the battleground for truth, where citizens unite, share stories, and mobilize for justice. The scandal feels personal. Nearly every Filipino has faced disaster, and now betrayal. The emotional toll is heavy, as families who have suffered from past calamities feel the sting of deceit from those they trusted. Under pressure, top officials resign, but the alleged mastermind refuses to step down. This defiance only adds fuel to the fire, as the public demands accountability from all involved. The president promises an investigation, but skepticism runs deep. Many question the sincerity of these promises, fearing they are mere words without action. Civil society and lawmakers flood the ombudsman with complaints, demanding not just resignations, but criminal charges and asset seizures. They seek justice that goes beyond mere political gestures. The public wants a clear message: no one is above the law. This sentiment resonates across the nation, as people call for a system that holds everyone accountable, regardless of status. A new generation of activists, led by students, energizes the movement, uniting young and old. Their passion and determination breathe new life into the fight for justice. This coalition signals that the fight for accountability is just beginning. Diverse groups come together, sharing a common goal of transparency and reform. The demand is simple: justice, not impunity. The streets echo with chants for fairness, as citizens refuse to back down until their voices are heard. The nation's future depends on it. The hope for a better tomorrow drives the movement, as people envision a country where justice prevails. The pressure will not fade. As night falls, the resolve of the people remains unshaken, their determination lighting the way forward. The corruption scandal directly undermined national defense. Stolen funds were meant for military upgrades in the West Philippine Sea, new outposts, radar, and patrol vessels. Now, the Navy and Coast Guard are left with outdated equipment, unable to match China's growing presence. Morale plummets as troops realize the money for their safety was stolen. The military's shift to external defense is stalled, leaving the nation exposed. Officials who once spoke of patriotism have, through greed, weakened the country's shield. The hypocrisy is glaring, national security sacrificed for personal gain. Soldiers and citizens alike see the bitter truth: the gravest threat comes from within. Corruption has disarmed the nation more than any foreign adversary. As the Philippines reels, China grows bolder in the West Philippine Sea. Chinese vessels escalate harassment, using water cannons and shadowing Philippine ships. Fishermen are driven from their traditional grounds, threatening livelihoods and food security. Diplomatic protests go ignored. Beijing asserts control, undeterred by international rulings. The government, distracted by scandal, struggles to respond. China exploits this weakness, consolidating its presence while Manila is divided. Each act of aggression is a reminder of the stolen funds and stalled defenses. The nation faces a dual threat: corruption within, aggression without. The scandal shakes not just politics, but the economy. Foreign investors grow wary. Credit agencies warn of downgrades. The peso weakens, stocks dip, and the country's reputation suffers. Construction halts, leaving thousands jobless and suppliers in limbo. The government may cut essential services to cover shortfalls, hurting ordinary Filipinos. Public trust in institutions collapses, making governance nearly impossible. Citizens lose faith, reluctant to pay taxes or cooperate with officials. Allies like the US and Japan reconsider aid, wary of corruption. The crisis isolates the Philippines at a time of greatest need. Restoring trust will require sweeping reform and real accountability. Protests on EDSA evoke the spirit of people power, linking today's struggle to the fight for democracy in 1986. The timing, near National Heroes Day, deepens the symbolism. Protesters invoke heroes like Rizal and Bonifacio, contrasting their sacrifice with officials' greed. The movement frames itself as a battle for national honor against internal betrayal. The scandal challenges the narrative of Filipino resilience, exposing how leaders exploit endurance for personal gain. Protesters reject this, demanding pride rooted in justice, not mere survival. Images of officials' lavish lifestyles fuel outrage among those left with nothing. The issue is not abstract, it's a story of social injustice. This sense of being wronged transforms anger into a powerful movement. The call is for change, not just endurance. Corruption and external aggression form a vicious cycle. Plundered funds cripple defense, creating a power vacuum in the West Philippine Sea. China exploits this weakness, pushing further as the Philippines is distracted and divided. The government, mired in scandal, lacks the authority to unite the nation. Public distrust paralyzes any response, deepening vulnerability. Corruption opens doors to foreign influence. Compromised officials may be swayed by bribes or blackmail. The threat is no longer just at the gate, it's inside. Breaking the cycle starts with rooting out corruption. National strength depends on integrity and trust. Defending sovereignty begins with cleaning house. The Philippines stands at a crossroads: reform or collapse. Accountability is non-negotiable. The architects of the scandal must face justice, and stolen assets must be recovered. Systemic reform is essential. Radical transparency, whistleblower protection, and a truly independent anti-corruption body. Loopholes that enabled ghost projects must be closed for good. True unity can only come when leaders earn back public trust through credible action. The nation's greatest threat is internal division, not foreign navies. If corruption festers, sovereignty will erode from within. The people demand justice and a future built on integrity. The choice is clear: act now or risk collapse. The fight for the nation's soul is underway.